Hello Art 200 and welcome to week 2 and chapter 2 when we will be discussing the language of art and architecture. So what we're going to be looking at this week in chapter 2 is the language of art. And when we're talking about the language of art, you want to think of images as a visual language, right? And we've sort of already touched on that in this class, that images communicate something to us. So it's a form of language. And so what we're going to look at this week are the formal elements, the elements of art. Sometimes these are called the visual elements. And then we are going to look at the principles of design. So the elements are basically tools that artists use to make an artwork. These are the things that the artists use in order to produce an image. Things like line, color, shape or form, tone, which is shading, right? So artists use these tools to create an artwork. And then when we're talking about the principles of design, we're really talking about how the artist puts these tools together, right? So the artist might be using elements like line or shape or color in order to create a certain kind of composition, a balanced composition, for example. So these tools, these elements of art and the principles of design, you have to really think of these like they're like the grammar, right, of the language, right? In a language, we need grammar so that we can understand each other and so that we can put words together to make meaning, right? And so the artists use these tools in order to make meaning with their images. So we're going to start by talking about the elements of art. The formal elements of art are line, light and value, color, texture and pattern. Sorry, something is popping up on my computer. Shape and volume, space, time and motion, and chance, improvisation, and spontaneity. So you should be reading about this in the textbook, review the images, and if you have any questions, you should let me know in the forum because perhaps one of the other students has a similar question. So review the elements of art, and then of course review the principles of design. Again, these are tools that the artist can use to put these elements together in order to communicate something through the image. Once you have reviewed all of the elements of art and the principles of design, and you should also make sure you understand the section on architecture so that you understand the language that we will be using when we'll be discussing architecture. Then you should move on to making your color wheel. So as you noticed on Moodle, you need to produce a color wheel. There is a PDF document on Moodle that you can print out, or you can make your own color wheel. What I want you to do is to use paints or Play-Doh to mix your own colors. So all you need are the primary colors. What are the primary colors? Red, yellow, blue, right? So you're starting with the primary colors, and these primary colors are the colors that you can use to make all of the other colors. So I want you to be mixing your own secondary and tertiary colors. What are the secondary colors? Well, you use two primary colors to make a secondary color. So for example, one secondary color is purple. How do we make purple? We mix blue and red. Great. What's another secondary color? Orange. How do we make orange? We mix two primary colors, red and yellow. And lastly, green. How do we make green? We mix two primary colors, yellow and blue. So once you have the primary colors, you can make your own secondary colors. And once you have secondary colors, you can make your own tertiary colors. How do you make a tertiary color? You mix one primary color and one secondary color. So what I would like you to do is to start with the primary colors and make your own color wheel, mix all of your own secondary and tertiary colors. This is why I want you to use paint or Play-Doh. You can't mix secondary colors if you're using something like markers, for example. So this is why you really need to make sure that you're using a material that allows you to mix your own colors. And part of this is a challenge because I want you to understand that it's not super easy to mix colors. You have to be very careful with the balance of the two colors. For example, when you're making purple, if you put too much blue or too much red, you might end up with sort of a dark mess. So you have to be very careful and learn about the process that an artist goes through when an artist is working with color. So that's where you should start for this week. You should also, of course, be posting your answers to the questions in the forum, and of course posting your Instagram images. And that's all for now. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and please ask questions in the forum so that I can respond there and other students can get those responses. See you next week.